Hi friends, today we're going to make a video on the barn and the scenery around it and what the farm looked like in the early 50s. So I've got my grandmother here with me today again, and I'm going to show you a picture. This is her in about 1952 or 53, and you see just to the right of her, behind her is a tree, is a locust tree, which is still there. And you say that was the hog pen or the chicken house that's next to you?
The house was right here where the road is.
Okay, so that's the chicken house right there. So, and I'll show you what it looks like today. Today there's a pond in the background. And that locust tree is still there. So we'll go look at the barn and some more scenery around it. Okay, and here's to the right side of the barn. Hopefully the glare is not too bad on it. You can see the ridge in the background. And that's my grandmother standing there. And I'll show you what it looks like now. So that fence come off the corner of the barn. And Bonnie's standing right there about where my grandmother was standing.
That's her great-granddaughter.
That's her great-granddaughter there. So you can see how it's changed. There's a house in the background and garage, and there's trees growed up where the pasture was behind her. And you can barely make out the ridge line behind her. And the barn, of course, is right here. We'll go check it out. Here's the back side of the barn. So will you tell us about the barn a little bit, Grandma?
Well, the corn crib was on that far end over there. It's where they shucked all the corn. They do it in the corn crib. And then this white part here was where the two cows, where we took them in to milk them.
You remember the names of the cows?
Yeah. One was June, and the other one, I'll think of it in a minute. You asked me too fast.
And what'd you do? What was in the middle here? Just a hay mound?
Hay. Just hay. You throw the hay in there and then throw it up in the rafters.
And then, would it be as high as those beams up there?
Oh yeah, it'd be real high. We'd climb up that top beam and then jump off in the hay.
And then what was on this side down here?
Same thing as far as I remember.
Hay or cows? Because there's
Oh
a
no,
trough.
there's horses in here.
Oh, horses.
One horse when I lived here. Just one horse, but they used to have mules in there.
What was the horse's name? You remember?
Bob.
Bob? Mm-hmm. And then in between the barn, in between this spot here where you kept the cows, their granary. That was the granary back in the back.
Where they kept all the grain for the horses and cows.
You remember anything else about the barn?
Well, neighborhood boys would come in with burlap bags and catch pigeons after it got dark. Because in like the 46 and 47 boys collected pigeons. And a bunch of them would come in. I always wanted to go, but Daddy told me I was getting too old to catch pigeons.
He just didn't want you out in the barn at nighttime with the boys, did he? He was a smart guy.
There's nothing in there now but an old couple pieces of wood. Maybe 6 cannon jars, that's about it.
How old do you think the barn is?
I guess about 1900. They built it when they built the house. It was in 1902, I don't know. Because they had to have a barn when they had a house. He was a sawmiller, so I guess he probably must have got the lumber. It was probably free almost. Except what he had to pay for the land.
This is the corn crib side. You see the slats, how they're spaced out so they could dry the corn. Here's the inside. Slats are horizontal in here. Look at that, they're still corn cob. But nothing else, much else in here now. Just boards, an old apple crate. This is at the one end of the corn crib. You can see where they had these wooden pegs on there so they could hang their tack for the horses or the mules. There's a single tree, gambrel. Probably did a little butchering in here. Here we are inside the barn. This is the section where the cows were. Well, I guess that was set up so you could feed them down this slat, Grandma?
In the manger, yeah.
Yeah, you could slide it right down into their trough.
Yeah.
And I used to play up here when I was a kid. We used to have bales of straw up there. And we'd make forts out of it and camp up there in the middle of the night, you know, overnight. So you'd climb all the way up this ladder, huh? Jump off that rail, off that beam up there.
Off that great big one up there, but the hay was up halfway up there. So.
Right.
I was climbing up that ladder behind you just before Granddaddy passed. He said, "You better stop that."
What was you going up there for?
To look for chicken eggs.
And this is in here is your is the
Granary.
The granary was in here.
Yeah.
Nothing cool in there. Some pallets and things in there now. There's a Volkswagen roof. Okay, look, this is looking down over top of the corn crib. You can't really go over there anymore because it won't hold you. I wouldn't take a chance on it. An old self-propelled lawnmower. And I'm standing right where we used to keep the straw when I was a kid. Here's the horse stable side. You can see where they hung their tack for that, for the horses. And the feed trough. Got an old Volkswagen tire in it now. So that's our barn. Not a whole lot to it, but you can still climb up here and it still holds you. I don't know if I'd stand on those beams or not. They're moving a little bit. See how they cut them out and put pegs in them? So that's the tour of our barn.